Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be talking about people that have a Gemini Sun and Libra Moon in their natal chart, and I'm going to elaborate and expound on that. What I'm saying is I'm going to be talking about people that have that combination in their chart, the Gemini Sun Libra Moon combination. And first off, okay, the basic character, which is the sun, it's the conscious side of the person, being Gemini, can be very versatile, loquacious, adaptable, eloquent, quick-witted, and mercurial. Now, the unconscious side, which is in this case the moon, being in Libra, may be relaxed, equitable, diplomatic, sociable, charming, refined, and balanced. And this is a person that may bring those quick-witted, communicative Gemini qualities. And it could be in something Libra related. It could be something with the law, acting, art, arbitration, negotiation, maybe work with scales. I'm being a little bit flippant there. It's interesting because if I'm not mistaken, okay, Andy Griffith, who played an attorney on some show, I forget the name of the show, but he was, if I'm not mistaken, he was a Gemini Sun and Libra Ascendant, and he played somebody, I'm sure, likely not just an attorney, probably a clever attorney. In Gemini, energy could be very shrewd and clever. And Libra is a sign associated with the law, which includes work as an attorney. So it's very interesting. So it was similar energy to what I'm describing with the Gemini Sun and Libra Moon. Again, Eddie Griffith was a Gemini Sun, I believe Libra Ascendant, if I'm not mistaken. You may want to convert that and check on the internet to verify that, but I believe that's what this Sun Ascendant combination was. Don't remember his Moon Sun, but anyway. Also, too, keep in mind, okay, the sun in astrology is what we want. It's connected with our basic wants. And the Gemini Sun, okay, wants to assimilate and disseminate information. And you have the Libra Moon. Moon is about our needs, our emotional needs. And Libra Moon needs relationships, collaboration, doing things with others, balance, intellectual sociability, bouncing ideas off others. And this is combination, of course, that I think could be very intellectual. You have an air sign for the sun and the moon in this combination. Gemini can be very cerebral, ruled by Mercury. Libra can be intellectual as well. They're very, they could be communicative. Libra was about, again, intellectual sociability, communicating, bouncing ideas off other people, maybe working together with somebody, in terms of forming certain maybe new concepts, new ideas. Can also be, keep in mind too, the true self, which is the sun, being in Gemini in this case, could be very witty, mobile, multifaceted. Now the inner self, which is the moon, being in Libra, can be very charming, tactful, diplomatic, cooperative. This is a person that can likely be very adaptable, because Gemini Sun, the basic, the sun again being the fundamental character of the person, is very adaptable and pliable. And you have the Libra Moon, which likes to keep peace. It's about cooperation and can be adaptable as well. Libra and Gemini, it's not a combination that you would say would be overly combative or disputatious. But of course, you always got to factor in contraindicators in the chart, modifying influences. And say if somebody has Aries ascendant or Mars conjunct the first house cusp, or even Mars in the first house, whether it's conjunct the ascendant or not, a person may be a little bit more acerbic, more combative, more disputatious. than the typical Gemini Sun Libra Moon combination. And another thing about this, okay, the Sun is about our drive and motivation. And a person that has Gemini Sun can be very driven and motivated, which again is the Sun, to do manifold, which is Gemini things. And having a Libra Moon, the person may feel like doing it. The Moon is about how we feel, doing them in a fair and balanced, which is Libra manner. And this would be, I would say, more harmonious if it forms a trine aspect. A trine aspect in astrology is 120 degrees. I use a 10-degree orb. If you have at least one personal planet involved, in this case you do have two personal planets involved. So as an example, if the Gemini Sun is at 12 degrees and the Libra Moon is at 17 degrees, that would form a trine aspect, and the energy can work very good. And like some other Sun Moon combinations, this could be a good combination, let's say for sales with the public, because Gemini Sun has the way with words. Libra Moon may not be aware of it all the time because the Moon is the unconscious side of the person, but Libra Moon can be very persuasive. And when you have that combination, the Moon is associated with the public. So this could be a person on a public level can be publicly recognized as somebody that's being very persuasive and charming person, somebody that can win over others. And then you have the Gemini Sun, again, having the way with words, being very verbose, being able to talk their way into things, and being and Gemini can be by itself. Gemini Sun can be a good salesperson because they do have that way with the words, and they can emphasize what is really good, the good aspects in the product. So the thing about this combination too, it's obviously a very, I would say, eloquent and communicative combination, considering you have the Gemini Sun, Gemini being communicative, as Libra being both air signs, very literary. And another thing too, that the Sun in astrology is associated with the biological father, and the Moon is connected with the mother. So, and especially, I would say, if you have, but this is a trine aspect. As I stated before, as an example, if the Gemini Sun is at 12 degrees and the Libra Moon is at 17 degrees, there's a better chance for a harmonious connection with the biological father and the mother. Of course, there's other things, that their compatibility is predicated on, especially, I would say, the synastry between the biological father and the mother. But this can indicate harmonious connection with the biological father and mother, if this is making a trine aspect. Now, another thing too is that you could actually have an out of sign square aspect take place between the Gemini Sun and Libra Moon. Say, for example, the Gemini Sun is at 29 degrees and you have the Libra Moon at 2 degrees. That would form an out of sign square aspect. Now, some astrologers don't believe in out of sign aspects. I do. As an example, as I've stated in previous videos, I'll give you this one. Let's say somebody has the Sun in Cancer at 0 degrees, and they have Mercury in Gemini, at 29 degrees. The planets, I consider them, they're making a conjunction, and they're in close proximity to each other. And when you have that, you have friction. The planets, they're still close to each other. Therefore, I would say that is still a conjunction aspect, and I apply that to the other aspects, sextiles, trines, squares, oppositions, even inconjuncts. I do see an inconjunct aspect as a major one. But if you do have the again, the out of sign square aspect, as an example, Gemini Sun at 29 degrees, and say a Libra moon at like 2 degrees, then you might have, then the energy may not be as flowing, with each other. Um, it just will not. That's one way, to look at that. And there may be, chance too, since the sun is the biological father and the moon is the mother, that their connection may be adversarial. And again, Gemini energy may not be working as well with the Libra moon. Gemini sun, for example, Gemini sun doesn't want to be, pinned down. As far as just who they are generally, the basic character, the Libra moon has that need for relationships, and maybe as an example, you could have a conflict with that energy. And if there is a square aspect, out of sun square aspect between Gemini sun and Libra moon. Anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment. Until next time, Edwin Learnard saying stay well.